Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another Java video. In the previous video, we talked about variables and data types in Java. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to accept user input. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing you need to do in order to accept user input is to use a utility function that is available to you in Java, and that's called scanner. Okay, it comes from the Java util package. If you just click on it, it will import it for you. Okay, and most of the IDEs will import them automatically for you, but if you want, you can just remember that. Okay, scanner is in the Java util package. Okay, so this is the name of your function that we are going to use, and then you need to give this variable or this function a name, right? Because you have to use it, and we learned how to give a name in the previous video. So let's just call it scanner. Okay, I'm going to give it a meaningful name so that we understand, and then you put an equal sign and then you assign a value to it. Now this might be confusing to some people who are new to Java. Okay, so you put a new keyword and then you say scanner, like this. Okay, and then you pass something here which will be system dot in. Okay, so this is something that you need to remember. Okay, so you need to declare a variable and then you have to create an object for that. Okay, this is how you create an object. I'll be discussing this in depth in the later videos, but for now you have to remember this, that you type the name for name of the variable that you're using and then give it an actual name, right? This is not the name but the type. Okay, then you write the name and then you write new, which is another keyword in Java, and then you write the same name here, and then you pass system.in, which means that we are going to be reading the values from the terminal or the command prompt. Okay, now what we're going to do is, in order to read values, we'll say scanner dot. Now you see, there were different data types that we discussed in the previous video. Okay, so if you want to, let's say, read a number, an int, so what it'll say is next int. Okay, so this is how you read a variable. Now we are reading this variable now. Okay, but are we storing it somewhere? No, right? And when you read something, let's just run this program. You'll see we do not have anything in here, but you see there is a cursor, and we do not have this the line that we used to have when we run the program, which says that process exited with system code 0 or something like that. You do not see it here. That's because your program is still running, as you can see here, right? Otherwise it just runs and stops. So now our program is in running state, and you can type anything that you want here, right? But there's a limit to an integer value. I think it is somewhere around 2 billion or something. So, but we want to store our age, let's say. So we'll say 25, and we'll just say enter, and then our code says process finished with exit code 0. Okay, so we were able to read our this value from the terminal, right? But we didn't store it somewhere. We didn't make any use of it, right? So what we're going to do is, we know that this will give us, or this will read an integer value from the terminal, right? So we're going to declare a variable and we'll call it age, and now this age variable will have whatever we print or whatever we type from the terminal. Okay, now let's print this. The shortcut would be s out. Okay, and let's just print the age, and before that we'll just say you are this much years old. Okay, so let's just run it. You see we have the cursor again, your program is still running, and if I just type 25 and let's zoom in, it says you are 25 years old. Okay, so that's how you store the variable. We have already covered that in the previous video, but this is how you actually read the value from the terminal. Okay, you can read different types of values. For example, if you wanted integer, we use nextInt. Let's say you want to read your name, so we'll say string name, say scanner dot next line. Okay, let's put a semicolon here, and let's print the name as well. we'll say your name is, and we'll say name here, and let's just remove this. So we'll type our age first, 25, and you see our program just exited and it said name, but it didn't print out any name here, and that's because we didn't get the chance to type it out, right? And this is an issue. Okay, this is an issue when you want to read a string after an integer value, and that's because when we put the int value, when we typed the int value in the command prompt, I pressed enter, and when you put enter, let's run this program again and I'll explain you. So we'll type our age, right? And it doesn't do anything until we press enter, and as soon as I press enter, it prints your name is and you're 25 years old. What happened here is, as soon as I press enter, the cursor moves to the next line, and that next line is read into this string name. Okay, that's because a new line character is also a string. Okay, so how do we take care of this? How do we get rid of this this next line that is printed here, and instead let our terminal write the name? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say scanner dot next line. Okay, and this is something that you need to remember in order to accept a string input after the integer. Okay, so if I run this again, I type the age, and let's zoom in. Okay, now our cursor waits for us to write something, right? Because that enter is being read in this scanner.next line. We're not storing it anywhere because we do not need it, right? But now whatever we type here, it will be stored in this string name variable. So let's write a name Alice, and say your name is Alice, you are 25 years old. Okay, so this is something that you need to remember, that if you want to read a string after reading an integer variable or any number, that you need to put a scanner.next line that will read your next line character. And the next line character actually it looks like this \n. Okay, we'll be covering this in the later videos, but this is something that you need to remember now. Okay, but the same issue, it wouldn't happen if you were to read the name before reading the int value, right? So let's run it again. Let's write Alice, and then you see when I press enter, it waits for me to write the age, because that enter or that new line character that I told you guys about, it is stored in this string variable. Okay, so it waits for us to type the integer value as well. So I'll say 25, and it says your name is Alice, you are 25 years old. Okay, similarly you can store a double value, let's say double salary, and we'll say scanner dot next double, and I will say your salary is, we'll say salary. We'll run again, let's zoom in, let's write Alice 25, and our salary will be 2455.55, right? So it says your salary is 2455, and we printed this before we are reading the salary, so that's how the order of the program is. So we're printing the name and the age before we read the salary. So that's why we got like two red lines here, which is the output. Then we type our salary, and then it prints the salary for us. Okay, so that's how you take the input, and let's just create a little program. So we'll say, actually we already have a program. Let's just change a few things here. So let's say your name is, and we'll say what's my name, it's in the name variable, and you are 25 years old, and you earn per month, and you need to put a plus sign here as well. Okay, let's zoom out a little. So it says your name is Alice and you are whatever age we'll provide, 25 let's say years old, and you earn whatever salary per month. So let's run it and let's zoom in. And what's the first thing that we need to type? Actually, you know what, let's put some statements here. So we'll say is out and what is your name. Okay, and let's remove this ln so that we read the input at the same line. So we'll type the name here, and then let's just copy this. Let's say what's your age, and then similarly how much do you earn. How much do you earn? Okay, let's stop the program and then let's run it again and see. It says what is your name. Let's type Alice. What's your age? We'll say 25. And how much do you earn? Let's say 2455.55. So it says your name is Alice and you are 25 years old and you earn 2455 per month. Okay, so that's how you read the variable. Okay, I already showed you guys a couple of videos ago that how do you read values from command prompt. Okay, so you can pass the values to this args variable that you have and you can use those, but this is how you actually read variables when your program is running. Okay, because that was something when you pass the values to args, you've already passed the arguments. Okay, but when you need your program to actually use the variables while your program is running, then you use this method. So you use the scanner class to read the values that you want. Okay, I guess this is it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.